In the top left, currently tied with Classic for map wins, looking to bring this home and get a very respectable second place at the very least, we have Dope Name Keen. That's just what I'm going to say that Dope N stands for.
And spawning here at the bottom right. He is the blue Protoss. Playing for a dope team, if I do say so myself. It is from Alpha X. He is Classic.
Alright, we are going to have to spend some time to see what happens here. It looks like so far both sides are going to be going for that relatively early expansion. Classic is doing some scouting for a proxy, worried that Keen might potentially do that to him, but it looks like at least in game 1 of this series, he has chosen otherwise. So between Keen and Classic, who would you give the edge to?
You know,
what do you think the score is going to be?
I'm gonna go with what our viewers think. So I think Classic does have the advantage here. Whether you're talking about even in the years past, I think people will also favor Classic. And I think there hasn't been any like significant major wins from Keen that I have seen ever since he came back that would lead me to believe that he's gone to a next level. And so with that in mind, I think I will probably predict that Classic does have the advantage right here, or at least will be a bit favored on the bettings.
Yeah, I agree. I think 3-1 Classic seems like the most likely scenario. In fact, so far things are turning out according to the prediction that I made way back at the start. Hero, Classic, Keen, Leenock. We'll see if that continues. But Keen is going for an interesting build. He's getting concussive shells and a fast Marauder. I wonder if that's meant to be offensive, or is that just meant to be defensive against like a fast Adeptor or Stalker coming across the map? We do see 2 more barracks on the way, so Keen, one way or another, is going to want to get wanting to get aggressive. That's right. I can make the words come out of my mouth. Which is good, because that is literally my job here.
Yeah, now it's interesting because we do usually tend to see Stim being researched first, because concussive shells is more cheaper and it's more quicker to research. So we do tend to see Stim being researched as the first upgrade. But it looks like Keen has elected to go for the concussive shells instead. And Classic thus far, he has not actually sent his Adept across the map, so he is pretty much in the dark. And if the Terran player can catch the Protoss with their pants down, it could get quite ugly.
I think Classic will be okay because this Oracle will be able to take out the Marauders, but I think that he is going to take a bit of damage, and also this Oracle is going to be forced to turn around and come home, because these Adepts cannot win this fight on their own.
Yep, looks like you were right. He is going to turn around that Orko and will be sniping down those 2 Marauders here.
Overall, not too bad, but I think that he would have been hoping for a bit more out of the concussive shells, but at least now he knows the Oracle's coming, and the Oracle is relatively low on energy. So he's going to have missile turrets up just in time for this. So that's good. And he will have stim and combat shields quite quickly if he wants to attack. Or he might just want to wait for +1. We'll have to find out. He's now getting his factory fairly late, but that's because the 3-racks requires a pretty big commitment. And I think we are going to see a move out with these Marines with stim and combat shields to see what they can get done. Ooh, good damage onto those Oracles. Revelation does come down, but definitely not without its cost.
Yeah, it's going to be important for, excuse me, it's going to be really important for Classic to keep an eye out on these Marines and Marauders, see when the move out is coming across the map. That kind of will give him a nice indication as to when to start cutting pro production, start getting some of those units out, and also plant down those shield batteries.
Yeah, right now, Classic really only has Adepts and Sentries. Without good force fields, he's basically dead. He's putting down a stasis ward though. That's a smart move. And it looks like Keen has no interest in moving out until +1 is nearly done, and he has more of a critical thing of Marines, he might even wait for Medivacs, although I feel that might be a little late to move out. We'll have to see what he wants to do, but maybe waiting for Medivacs now could be the right call. Ooh, he is moving out to scout and to look for those stasis wards, but does not find it before the oracles take him out. So it looks like he is going to get a couple of Medivacs, maybe as he moves out or before he moves out. We shall find out, as I expect, yep, the Medivacs start now. But we do have 5 gates on nearly done for Classic, as well as Templar Archives and Forge on the way, so Classic is going to have a good set of... Oh, that's a beautiful stasis ward. That's going to delay him. But since he's already waiting for these Medivacs anyway, that's actually not going to be a big delay on the overall attack, paradoxically.
Yeah. So in the end, it does kind of work out all right for him.
Yeah. But at least Classic will know when Keen is moving out and with what. That Oracle does get taken out. So that's good, at least, for Keen. And now Keen's going to move out with the other set of units to move around to that third base to see what they can get done. But yeah, there's a lot of force fields here. But with these Medivacs, those could help deflect those force fields. And there's not really a lot else. There's a shield battery, but now we're starting to get a bunch of Blink Stalkers and the production of the Protoss really starting to kick in, but without Storm, without Charge, this could do some serious damage. He might just also, yeah, go around to the main, but there's actually 4 Stalkers already there. So this could turn out... Ooh, we'll have to see how this turns out for him, and he does decide to... No, he loses a Medivac already, and decides to turn around. So, and he decides to try for a drop in the natural as well, but Classic is everywhere.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I like how what Keen is thinking. He was going to attack at the third, drop into the main, and then drop into the natural for a 3-prong attack. But Classic, with a really great defensive setup, will be able to defend against that harassment there. So, well done thus far for Classic.
Absolutely, it was a fantastic idea and a fantastic attempt overall, but Keen is not done. He's going to go for another attack, double-pronged attack as his third finishes. Try to catch Classic out of position or off guard or splitting up his army in the wrong way, but so far Classic impeccable with his defenses.
Alright, Charge is about to finish. That shall help out during the engagement, the big clash. But Keen trying to somehow, some way get some damage done. I just don't see him being able to really quite find the damage he wants.
Yeah, Oracle does fall. Remember, Storm is done too. And Keen's gonna try for a drop, but there's just so many units here. I think Classic is preparing for a Doom drop. Classic just has so much stuff at everywhere it needs to be at any given time. This is a masterclass in defense for Protoss. This is absolutely incredible. Classic just looks utterly invulnerable.
Yeah. Oh, there's 2 Widow Mines drop here into the natural. No response yet from Classic. I think he's just too busy. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 7 probes down, but some beautiful storms at that third base to block an attack there, and that's what allowed those Widow Mines to step in and get some damage done. Really the only serious damage that Classic has taken so far, but he wins on every other front and fends this off, and will be able to make his third base momentarily. Meanwhile, we have a drop over at this third base with a bunch of charge loss in the Warp Prism, and that's where he's going to drop it, and I imagine he'll then proceed to warp into the main, which is exactly what he looks like he's going to do. He gets 4 workers, but then backs away from the main base. And now he's actually going out for an attack of his own onto the third base of Keen, while Keen is on the other side of the map. And Classic knows, and oh, beautiful, Storm's done. But here comes the EMPs, and these are actually really good. So force fields do what they can, but Classic is forced to back away from this army. He gets some good force fields to save the rest of his army. But now Keen could get an attack over on this fourth base. But he's lost 10 workers already on the other side of the map, so he definitely wants to get some damage done.
Oh, huge warp in here though at the main base of Keen. He's going to have to decide whether to go across and attack or whether he will retreat back at home. Looks like he will go ahead and retreat some of his army back at home to clear this up. But nothing to defend here at the dirt base. Widowmine gets one shot, but doesn't quite take out the charge lot. And more SCVs going down as we speak.
So much damage, but actually Classic is caught out of position on the other side of the map as Keen's going after the third base, as Classic trying to retreat back to save it. Does use the overcharge, but it's not going to be enough. It does die, but Classic does kill a whole bunch of Keen's army in the process, and thus might be able to get a solid counterattack going.
Yeah, I think Classic will take it. You know, leave or sack one natural, or not one natural, sack one base for 20 plus workers. I think I would sack the Nexus if I was in Classic shoes. So all in all, Classic does pull ahead here after that couple of chaotic minutes.
Yeah, and Classic is now about to have 2 Colossi produced with extended thermal lance, so I think he's going to wait for these Colossi and these extra High Templar to reach his army before he makes any attack, and then he's going to have a whole bunch of Storms, a whole bunch of Archons, and a whole bunch of no less than 4 Colossi with extended thermal lance, and in the meantime Keen just does not have many Vikings. He only has 2 Vikings with another 2 about to finish, and it's going to be 4 Vikings against 4 Colossi with extended thermal lance, and I just think this is going to smash through. Classic moves forward, blinks nicely to extend that arc. The Colossi and the Storms just doing so much damage from behind, the Ghosts not able to protect them, and Classic just powers on through against Keen's army, and that is it. That is GG, as Classic just muscles through this army.
Alright, 2,000 atmospheres, PBT. This is quite a large map, so Classic may want to go ahead and start just making sure there's no shenanigans out here in the middle of nowhere. It looks like he will scout the outskirts of his base smartly.
Yeah, once again, Keen's deciding that he wants to play things a little more straight up, at least for now. So what do you think Keen will want to do in this game number 2 after what happened in the first game?
Probably not go for that build. It was a weird build because, again, usually you will kind of line it up with it would hit much quicker, I would say. So the idea is you research STEM, you research combat shield, you make a lot of Marauders and Marines. Probably more Marines because you're not gonna Tech Lab not gonna produce as much Marauders than Marines when the Marines are producing out of a reactor barracks. But the idea is, yeah, you push across the map, you do a stim timing, and you try to catch your opponent off guard. Hopefully that they won't have too much shield batteries and they won't have too much units, and then you can either outright win the game or do significant damage, probably game-ending damage. However, that didn't play out quite like that in the last game. He kind of made a little bit of a deviation in that build, and it, in the end, didn't quite work out.
Classic is deciding to mix it up himself. This time he's going to go for a Stargate. But it looks like Keen is actually going for the same build as before. Well, not quite the same build as before, because he's going for a reactor. So it looks like Keen might be going for the more traditional type of 3-racks play that you just mentioned, in fact. But he does look like he wants to stay with this aggressive 3-racks type of opening against Classic.
Yeah, and it looks like Classic actually going for the same opening as well, the Stargate opening. So a little bit of a deja vu here, and we'll see if things can work out better here for Keen compared to the last game.
Was it a Stargate opening he did before?
He went for Orko first, which helped out against the 2 initial Marauders, right? But
oh, that's right. I remember that now. Yes, you're right. That's exactly what happened. Now he had to pull it back. I was thinking I didn't really see much damage on the other side of the map, but that's because he needed to pull that Oracle back to deal with those first 2 Marauders.
All right, looks like the Reaper will jump in here. Actually, nothing here to defend as Adept is out of position. Will get a probe. Let's see if he can get a second one. Nope, doesn't quite get that second one. That's
really good. A Reaper gets the scout, gets a probe, and forces the some energy out of that Oracle. That's a hero Reaper. They'll tell tales of him back at the base. Mostly the moral of the story is be prepared, an Oracle is coming right now. But they're a pragmatic people, Terrans. They don't have the sublime beauty of the Kala. So Stim +1 combat shields all on the way, and as you said, this time it's going to be a lot faster. Maybe we'll see concussive shells researched afterwards, or maybe we're just going to see a ton of Marines, because it looks like no Marauders are actually being made at the moment. So it looks like we might see that, that type of push that you mentioned. And we'll see if that fares any better.
Yeah.
Classic will, after all, be aware of this before it hits, but will have the Stargate units, so not as good in a straight-up fight. Gets a worker, but now sees the amount of Marines there are. We'll see the 3 barracks, most likely. Doesn't get a lot of damage done overall, but what did he actually see? Let's find out. Yeah, he's seen all 3 barracks, so he knows what's coming.
Yeah, and really
building a shield battery in the 3rd.
Yeah, really that is the most important thing, is that you see this coming so that you're not caught off guard and you just don't outright lose to this.
Yeah, and he's getting an immortal. He's getting shield batteries where he's going to need to fight. I like that he's making this other pylon here as well to make sure that the pylons can't disable the shield batteries, and just make sure that he's defending the area between his 2 bases so that wherever his opponent attacks, he has a place to retreat to with at least 1 shield battery. Overall, a very good defense from Classic being done. Keen is going to be coming towards that 3rd base from the north, from the bottom left. And here comes the units ready to try and defend. Force Field doesn't do a whole lot, but Guardian Shield helps, and the Stim takes away so much of their health, and Classic's already prepared with shield batteries and units, and Keen is forced to back away. +1 armor, and Marauders now being added into the army, as Medivacs will only just now start to begin to come out for the follow-up.
Yeah, so nice hold there by Classic. And he can go ahead and jump straight back into Probin and also Tekken, getting those forges for those important upgrades. And the game continues. Yeah,
Blink on the way for Classic. Starts to get just a single forge, which is all he really needs at this stage. Definitely delaying that forge a fair bit in order to be safe against the 3 racks. Solid play. And we now have the first 2 Medivacs coming on out, which definitely opens up possibilities for Keen. Keen's going to attack again. In the meantime, going to put down a 3rd base on location as Classic gets his 5 gates, but they are still a while from being ramped up, because he needed to delay it in order to get a pretty large army off of 3 gates, but he has a good army that's capable of defending from this push. I think that Classic is probably going to be okay, but we'll see what King can get done. He is going for some Marines towards the natural as well, looking to sort of get a flank going.
Yeah, however, the Observer does catch eye on this.
Breaks the stasis ward though, and he is catching his opponent somewhat out of position, going after this 3rd base, forcing Classic to come into him. Gets out of range of the overcharge as much as he can. Starts sniping away units, but will not want to fight within the range of that overcharge. The overcharge is nearly done, but in the meantime, the Marines will take out one of these pylons, just barely avoiding these stasis wards. And Classic holds once again. King gets a bit more damage done this time, but overall nowhere near crippling damage. So takes up into his armory, continues to make more Medivacs, some more Marauders, some Widow Mines as the 3rd base finishes, and we're going to move into the mid-game.
Yeah, and that Templar Archive just got plotted down.
Ooh, double drop against a whole bunch of Blinkstalkers. This could be very bad for Keen.
Oh, not quite.
Looks like just enough for Keen, positioned just well enough that he will get some at least reasonably favorable trades out of that. Not as good as he would have wanted, but not as disastrous as it could have been. And in the meantime, Classic wins a fight at the 3rd base as well, and is beginning to get slightly ahead. As the Templar Archives finishes, and he produces a Warp Prism as well as Charge.
Yeah, it feels like Classic is playing like very stats-esque in terms of, being just being on top of the defense, leaving units at the main base knowing that the potential drops are prevalent, and then also having the Observer in very key places to see where all these attacks are coming from. And that has allowed him to position his units quite well.
Absolutely, Classic is playing an absolutely fantastic defensive series thus far against Keen, fending off everything Keen throws him from 1, 2, or even 3 directions simultaneously, splitting up his army so incredibly effectively. He always seems to just have the right amount at the right places. Storm will soon be done. He's making yet more units in the main. I feel like I'm learning a lot from playing this series as well, namely just like have more units in that main base. Don't just leave it at 4 Stalkers and call it a day. But in the meantime, we do have some Widow Mines being dropped across multiple mineral lines, dealing quite a bit of damage, but 10 workers go down from the Oracles as well. So the Widow Mines do some damage, but not as much as the Protoss does on the other side of the map. 4th base does get cancelled on its way, so that's a good move from Keen. And this Widow Mine is actually about to fire again at the 3rd base. Boom! Gets another handful of probes.
Oh, actually get the Observer as well, so...
Oh, yeah, you're right, he does. That's really good. I wonder if I think he must have targeted that. That's really well done. 2 Colossi on the way now. But there is another Observer with the army. So Classic moving into Colossi, plus 2 weapons, 3 ghosts, and empowered shockwave coming out of Keen as he progresses his own tech. Looks like he wants to fend this off with just ghosts and bio instead of Vikings, but he might not actually know about the tech just yet. And no, he doesn't know that Colossus tech is out and ready. Or about to be out and ready in about 2 seconds. There they are. And I think he's going to want to go up to that 4 Colossus mark and then attack again. 3 to 4 Colossi. And then make an attack. But Classic ready for the attack of Keen.
Oh no!
Actually, he catches these Colossi, that could be huge! And he stems in and he gets them and they just blow apart. And that is a beautiful catch from Keen as he gets both the Colossi. That is exactly what he needed. And all of a sudden, that is Keen's biggest victory thus far this game.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you get lucky, right? It's like things just kind of lay in your hand, and in that case, Keen was able to meet up with the Colossus saying, "Hey, Colossus, now you die."
Yeah, but Keen also made a bit of his own luck. He managed to move around undetected, get into a solid position, and then catch those Colossi because he was in a position to pressure the opponent. If you pressure any opponent, even Classic, for long enough, eventually something has to give. 4th base just now finishing for Classic, as the 4th base on location for the Terran is about halfway done. Classic splitting up his army a little bit, looking to take an engagement. I don't know about this one, but he's going for the Storms. They're good Storms, and Classic is retreating. Sorry, Keen is retreating.
Yeah, Classic gotta be careful. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
He definitely does have to be careful, but here comes a drop at either the 3rd base or the 4th. Actually, it's a Widowmine drop, so probably both at once. Oh, Classic's not ready for this. This 4th base is going to take so much damage.
Ouch.
9 probes go down. But all of these ghosts and Vikings are actually vulnerable. Oh, a huge EMP goes down, but almost all the ghosts and Vikings are down. But 12 probes are killed for Classic, and even more are about to go down. Oh, I don't know who came out ahead there. I think it might have been Classic, though. So many tech units have gone down on both sides. And now we have 2 Disruptors for Classic. And we'll see if they can get something done. Oh my god! The Disruptor gets a huge hit. But both the Disruptors will go down, but at a very high price. Meanwhile, Classic attacking this 3rd base. It is an orbital with a ton of SCVs. The SCVs are forced to retreat into no man's land, nowhere else to run. But in the meantime, a big drop at the 3rd base as well, coming down. And where's the rest of Keen's army? Oh, Widowmine's starting to do some serious work. The Vikings get a Colossi and are forced to retreat. This is an absolute madhouse of a game at this point, as it's almost turning into a base trade. As Classic charges into the natural, so many Stalkers are going to make sure that those Vikings all go down, and therefore those 2 Colossi are going to remain pretty much unkillable. And I think Classic is going to be winning this. He's got 50 supply up, he's got his army together that Keen can't beat, and he's starting to tear apart Keen's little forces one by one. So Classic does seem to have a pretty decisive edge here. I think Keen's going to try for one last attack. But if that doesn't work, that's basically going to be it. It seems like Keen's just lost too many forces, bled them out in too many places.
Yeah, and Keen now down to 1.5 mining bases. Storm going down ramp on the ramp, and that is it. Classic will take game number 2.
In the upper left, looking to take a game, and if he does not, he will be Doom and Pensiveness Keen. I believe that's what Dopen stands for.
I think he's on one of those clans that not really his clan, but he's on the Freaker Freaks officially. So yeah, he's from Freaker Freaks.
I know, I just like making jokes.
Yeah.
I just hope Classic wins this game because I don't have a fourth one.
Well, here in the bottom right, he's our blue Protoss player playing for his new team of Alpha X. Looking to close out with a 3-0 sweep. Will he bring out the broom? It is Classic.
The broom, I love it. Just give him the broom! Like it's pro wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
Round of 8, Parting sweeps his opponent, just like grabs a broom and sweeps it across his opponent's booth like one of those ceremonies in Brood War.
Ah, that would be epic. I would love that.
You know it'd have to be Parting who did something like
Or maybe back in the day, MC, aka Boss Toss. I think he would have been one of the players.
He would do that.
Yeah,
definitely. Alright, so it looks like, again, we're going to have the relatively standard openings. This time Classic doesn't actually check for a proxy. He's just thinking, okay, Keen's going to play straight up. So, Keen's gone for 3 racks twice in a row. Different types of 3 racks, but neither of them have worked. Game 1 worked pretty badly for him. Game 2 did better, but overall Classic's defense has just been utterly impenetrable. So, I wonder what Keen might try for game number 3. I kind of hope that he does not try for another 3 racks, and he is in fact throwing down another barracks, so I think that's just the hill he's decided to die on.
Yeah, now, I agree. I think, you know, bringing out that similar 3 racks build order 2 games in a row, and it hasn't quite worked out, and you would imagine that, yeah, it's not a smart idea to go for it once again. Now, that being said, Lake Shade, not the worst map to pull it out, even though it has failed twice in a row. I still would prefer he go for a different build order, but if he's going to stick with it, then I think, you know, Light Shade is actually quite okay for that.
You're right, if there's any map that this can work on, it's probably Light Shade. So we'll have to see how this works. Classic, meantime, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, is sticking with the same build, going for the Stargate. So we are going to see the same interaction of builds. But this time, yes, it is a map that is somewhat more suited for these early attacks. As Keen will move into, again, the stim very quickly and go for the same attack as previously. We'll have to see when Classic scouts it. Keen is coming out with 5 Marines and is going to do a lot of damage to that Adept. Actually kills that Adept, that's really good for him. Every unit counts, especially this early in the game, and as the Oracle is out, and we'll probably go out and get some scouting done, because it probably knows 5 Marines is quite a fair few.
Yeah, that should give him a little bit of a clue as to what's coming here. By the way, thank you, Some Drunk Canadian, for the subscription. Hope you had a nice stream over there on the other side. But yeah, it looks like the Oracle will come in here. We'll get a nice scout as to see what is... what's the build order opening here for Keen?
Oh, I really like that, how, seeing that it is 3 racks, the Oracle actually starts going after Marines to reduce the strength of the coming push. Already 2 Marines have gone down, and if you can get 1 or 2 more, that's just really good for stymieing this push. The push only comes with about 16 to 20 Marines, I think. Every Marine matters a lot.
Yeah, especially...
He's got 14 Marines moving out now, and he would have had 16. That's like an extra 15% of his forces.
Yeah, and being that Marine does have a high, you know, DPS, you know, it does, you know, become more important. Kind of like in Glaive Adepts, if you can dwindle the amount of Adepts early on, it makes it much weaker.
When he's trying to go after these remaining Adept Marines, I was going to say, and I was going to say that I don't know if that's a good idea because he had one of them so low, but he does manage to make it work. But now he's going after the 3rd base with a few Marines very quickly, and this time he's here somewhat faster than last time, and it's possible Classic might have to give up this 3rd base. I don't know if he can fight this head on. He's kind of poking at it and prodding it. Here comes the stim. The force field goes down, and he decides, alright, I'm just going to use my stim on the 3rd base instead, try and take it down. Classic trying to defend it, uses the force fields, they're not particularly effective actually, and the sentries start to go down. The stim is basically run out now, and here come the shield batteries to defend. Here comes the Oracle Will. I think this 3rd base might just survive, but at least Keen has taken out the sentries now, so he has done some damage. So that's probably the most successful his push has been yet, even though it didn't kill the 3rd. and he gets a faster third command center this time around as well. So Keen is adjusting. He's playing better than he was in the last 2 games.
Yeah, although I think he would have really loved taking out that third base, because yeah, he does lose some centuries and stuff, but if that third base is up, that means that Classic can continue keep up his economy rolling. As you see, the worker count is decently ahead here for Classic. I mean, we do of course have to count in those meals, but overall, I do think that if we base on the income tab or the graph, Classic is sitting really pretty here on the economy side.
Yeah, and we have a follow-up attack for Keen, and I don't know if this one's going to go as well as the first one. I mean, I guess it is just an Immortal, a few Stalkers, and a few Sentries, and 1 Shield Battery against, Stim and Combat Shields. So actually, this could do pretty well for Keen. But he won't have his Medivacs, so if he stims in and then the Overcharge is used, then that could be quite bad for the health of his army overall. It looks like Keen might just want to back away.
Yeah, I would say that's a smarter move. When you go into a fight like that and you're like basically in red and yellow life already, 1 stim is really gonna have be all that you have during the engagement. And then, like you said, the shield battery overcharge does help out the protons, with this defender's advantage. So might want to go ahead and just wait for the medivacs to arrive to the fight.
2 medivacs are coming across the map. The question is, are they going to go? I think he's going to try and sandwich this. But this stasis ward could really... Oh no, he sees the stasis ward. He's going to get that, and now it looks like he's going to attack in 2 different places at once. Doesn't quite get the observer, but he comes in from behind, takes out this Immortal. The overcharge goes down, but he kills the overcharge almost immediately. Oh my god, Keen just absolutely surrounding this, and the slow locks do nothing. And all of a sudden, I think Classic might just hold this barely, but even if he does, Keen has actually finally succeeded in getting some serious damage done, and that third is toast.
Oh, even kills off the pylon with the warping units and reinforcements. And I think he, if some Tiger firing, he should be able to take out that third, and that might have just done it.
At first you don't succeed, try again. And Keen has finally made this 3 racks build and this aggressive bio do what he wants it to do. He will not immediately win the game, but he is up 50 supply. He's also done a drop in the main base as well. 20 workers have gone down with Widow Mines in the main and natural, and all of a sudden, Classic is looking in very dire straits and on the ropes. I think we're going to go to a game 4 here.
Yeah, it would seem so. Keen, it would be hard to imagine him giving this up or letting it up and having a Classic be able to come back. Right now, Classic is only on Blink Stalkers and 1 Immortal. He's trying to get charged, but it's quite late. He's trying to get Templar Archive, but that's never going to finish before this attack commences.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the push that ends this game. The Immortal goes down, and with it, so do Classic's hopes, as all of the Blink Stalkers are being destroyed. The third base is never going to be finished up again, and GG is called. Keen will put one up on the board and save himself from extinction. In the bottom left, now that I'm out of possible permutations on Dope N, we have Afrika Freaks Keen.
And spawning here for Alpha X. He's up 2-1, looking to close out the series. It is Classic.
So yeah, the thing that we'll definitely be looking to look out for, the big decision, is going to be what that first tech building out of Keen is going to be. Are we going to see a factory? Are we going to see another barracks? And then we're going to want to see what Classic's doing. So that might take about a minute and a half or so, but yeah, I do think that on this map, it's a lot harder to potentially move into that third base on Blackburn from multiple locations. You can really only move into it on Classic side, you can only really move into it from the bottom left without going all the way around. I suppose you can come in from the bottom left to go after the natural, or you can come in from that top ramp. But either way, you're going to that area just outside the natural. There's not really any other place you can go without breaking down some rocks. So yeah. I think it's a lot better map for... I think the map before it was a lot better for 3-Rex than this one.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, we did see that kind of play out a little bit on Lightshade, where because of the distance between the natural and the third, Classic was very very wary that if he's gonna move out, he has the potential of having Keen kill all of his army, all of his sentries. And it's not a great map to force field on, so all those sentries really didn't play a part. And by the time he tried to move back to his shield batteries, half of his army was dead, and it was much more difficult to defend the third that way. On this map, though, as you mentioned, the only way to get to the third is through to the natural, so it does have a better defensive setup here for Classic to deal with that three barracks opening.
Yeah, but it looks like we are going to be going with the same build. We have the 3 racks versus the Stargate. Both players have decided this is their choice, and that's what they're going to be going with. Ooh, gets that work very nicely done from Keen overall. Gets a second one, actually. That Reaper has 3 kills.
Oh, wow.
You just don't see that at this level of play, like, ever. That is incredibly well done by Keen, and already thrown quite a spanner in the works of Classic. Not to mention that it scouted the Stargate pretty much immediately.
Yeah,
and we actually have a deviation. We have an engineering bay which is significantly faster than before. So I think he wants to hit with a dim combat shields +1 timing, where all those upgrades hit at the same time. Wait, no, it looks like he's just getting the engineering bay for the fast missile turrets against this Oracle. So he's going to be more prepared for the Oracle than before. Going to get probably a missile turret in the main, and Marines in the natural to defend against this, as he gets, stim and +1.
Yeah, so...
Go on.
Yeah, so basically a much better place to start off with for Keen, because I believe I think it was like in the previous game, in one of the previous game, those Oracles were very, very annoying for Keen. So if he can kind of mitigate some of the damage of this Oracle, he should have a really strong move out as well to potentially put some hurt on Classic.
Yeah, so he's going to have stim combat shields and +1 all finish at reasonably similar times. However, everything we've said before about Blackburn and about it being just generally a worse map for 3-Rex does still apply. It is easy to defend that ground between the natural and the third, and it's harder to go really anywhere else without taking a lengthy detour before Medivacs come out.
Yeah, but even so, I think Classic is playing a bit extra safe because right now he has actually delayed his third by quite some time, as he does figure out that Keen is going for that 3-Rex opening. He's gonna just get a few more units out before he takes that third, and he finally does take that third. And this should help him out, as he does have extra units to defend.
I think that's a very smart decision. He's won twice. He can win a third time as long as he doesn't make any big mistakes. And as long as he has enough units to defend. He has 4 sentries, but not a lot of other units. Yeah, 1 Oracle does go down there. The second one will see the move out. And good shield battery placement there. For Classic. Ooh, good stasis ward goes down for Keen. Definitely slowing down that push substantially.
You're just playing freeze tag, Salivanth.
Game paused.
And Keen requiring a pause.
Alright, so well, hopefully this isn't anything too alarming here. Hopefully it's not any technical issues. Maybe Keen, I would imagine Keen right now, he's answering the door because he ordered pizza or something. I don't know.
Game resumed.
Okay, looks like he's good to go. If he has ordered pizza, that shows either a great deal of self-belief or not enough self-belief for it to arrive now. Either he thought one way or another, he thought this series was going to be over quickly.
Or maybe he just got really hungry.
Maybe. Sends that first Marine forward to try and deal with stasis traps. There aren't any at the moment, but now it's looking like he's going to want to get that. Oh, he actually collapses on this extremely well. Takes out most of these sentries, takes out the Immortals, forces the overcharge immediately. The stasis ward does go down, but overall this is an excellent fight for Keen as he gets this shield battery and he starts charging forward. 3 more Stalkers being created. He takes one of them down immediately. Probes are forced to be pulled off the line, and this is actually looking really good for Keen as it turns out that yeah, he just keeps on pushing with the same thing, and eventually it seems to just work out, as he might just have just enough to get some real damage done. He's already taken out 7 workers. Well, the Oracle goes down, the Stalker's about to go down, and could this just be the game?
I think so. I think we're heading into a game 5 as Keen is about to take down this third.
Yeah, it looks like with these extra 3 Stalkers and with these Marines so low, Classic will fend off this attack, but oh, that's beautiful. And the Marauders are coming in, and I think they have... Oh, they don't have concussive shells, but that doesn't matter. They still deal damage here. And there's just so much here. The Marines are doing so much damage, even though they're barely alive. The Immortal comes out, but Keen is not giving up. He's continuing to move units across the map slowly. Classic is making more gateways, but they're not going to be done in time. Blink is about 30 seconds away. But now, Keen is up 2 upgrades. Classic has no time to breathe. He doesn't have the time to build a forge of his own.
Yeah, he's going to be quite behind on the upgrades. Definitely, for sure.
So Keen's game 4 is even better than his game 3.
Yeah. I mean...
And now he's just going to go for a big drop. And I don't see how Classic is going to stop that.
Yeah, there's actually nothing here on the main base. Oh boy, this is going to turn ugly for our blue Protoss. No shield battery even here to defend as well.
Does a recall to try and defend. There are 2 Immortals here, but one of them goes down so fast. The Stalkers and Immortals are kind of stuck, not really able to get where they need to be. Keen is up 30 supply. He's moving forward. He's trading so incredibly well. So 13 workers have gone down, and there's another army heading towards the 3rd base.
Yeah, but it looks like the steam is clearly on Keen's side as he oh yeah, this 3rd base is absolutely vulnerable, and Keen, he does it. He forces a game number 5.
In the bottom left, representing the Terran race, representing the hope of 3 Raxors on the ladder everywhere. The one-trick, devastating pony of death, it is a freak of freaks, Keen! And in the top right, returning from exile in military service, the former greatest Protoss in the world, he's looking to get back on top, and his first opponent in his way is standing right in front of him. We have Alpha X's newest recruit, we have Alpha X Classic!
I think I just gave our audience a a little bit of dizziness with all the camera panning or motion there.
It's been a while since I've done one of those. Can't do it with quite the same volume as before because I have neighbors now in the same apartment, but hopefully the intensity makes up for it. And I just want to see the question on everyone's mind. Are we going to see the same builds 5 times in a row from these players?
Yeah, that is the money question right now. And we shall find out once they start getting their natural rolling up and running. But so far, pretty standard here. Reaper opening, okay. So pretty much the same. Now the Reaper last game got like a magical 3 probes. Let's see if let's see if King can get the same amount, because I think that kind of allowed him to, first of all, get to a very strong mindset to begin the game, and also, 3 workers in that early stage of the game is actually, does put a dent on the Protoss economy. So I think Keen would love, very much so, to get 3 more probes here in this 5th game.
I think what might have happened actually in game number 4 is I think Classic might have messed up his wall a little bit and didn't expect the Reaper to come in from that angle, because he did put up the Stargate there and the Reaper just snuck through.
Ah, okay, yeah, that might be it.
But now Classic does have a proper wall set up this time, so I think he's gonna... I don't think he's gonna lose probes this time around, and Keen knows he's not even gonna rush straight there. So looks like it's gonna be a relatively normal opening this time. But yeah, we see the 2 more Raxes coming down for Keen. This time Keen adjusting a little bit with a bunker, but Classic is mixing it up. Classic is going for a Twilight Council instead of a Stargate, and Keen sees that pretty much right away. I approve. I think Keen's clearly managed to make this build work, and Classic seems to now be on the worst end of it, so I think Classic is the one who does need to change it up. But I think on Oxide, a map with so many different rocks that you need to break down to have some good attack paths, and now having a slightly better tech against this, getting this fast blink, I think Classic is going to hold this one much better this time around, and hopefully he holds it in such a way that we get a longer epic PvT on our hands.
Yeah, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Because these games has been relatively, ended early to mid-game. None of them have really kind of expanded to the late game. So it'll be great to have like a last game go into the long macro game right here.
Very fast second and third gates, and then a robo. So a nice defensive build from Classic. I like how he's doing this. I definitely approve, given what he knows about Keen's preferences and how well Classic has dealt with those preferences over the last couple of games.
Yeah,
Factory goes down a little faster for Keen this time.
Yeah, it looks like he will go for the medevacs once again. Usually, the opening here is to just go without the medevacs and just hit earlier with the stim timing. But actually, excuse me. I think it's going to actually play out really well for him because Classic did delay that third base. So, in the end, I think it does actually it will be work out all okay for Keen to attack a little bit later with the medevacs instead of without the medevacs.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. Although, yeah, Blink's gonna be done either way. He's getting more sentries now. He's getting immortals. Classic is definitely actually like playing an extremely defensive game. He's taking his third base 20 seconds later than he took it in game 4, and like 50 seconds later than he took it in game 1. He's getting up to 4 sentries. He's getting immortals. He's very much delaying his own economy a bit in order to get this thing moving. And we will have concussive shells ready for the fight as well, which we did not have previously in game number 4. And yeah, I think he's going to go once... I think he's going to move out fairly quickly when the medivacs are on their way. Then he's going to bring up the medivacs with the next wave of reinforcements. And he's going to unite them all together, and he's going to try and get some attacks in, and he's probably going to use that first wave of units to like break down some destructible rocks to open up opportunities for him to attack. Because I think Oxide is a lot better if you can break down those rocks that are basically to the south and then slightly to the right of Classic's third, the ones that lead down that ramp, which allow you to then attack from multiple angles.
Yeah, I agree. Sometimes it's a bit curious because there are those periods in the game where both players are not doing much, and there's like all these rocks, and I'm like, why don't you take the time and just like kill the rocks? Make it easier on yourself.
I guess Keen is looking to just send out a drop instead. He sees those blink stalkers. He doesn't want those blink stalkers to sort of harass him all the way across the map, whittling down his forces. He knows that it's not the same as Stargate, so instead he looks like he wants... Oh, I know I think he wants to catch these blink stalkers. He wants to catch them on the retreat, but they've already backed away. I think that's what he was planning on doing, to catch them after they blinked away and moved in that exact direction. That would have worked out pretty much flawlessly. Like, imagine if that one stalker had been 8 stalkers. Yeah,
that would have pretty much been GG, because when you open up with blink stalkers, then all your stalkers are dead. I mean, that you're not going to have a lot left over. You're going to have slow zealots and not a lot of else besides that.
Yeah, good play and counterplay from both sides. But we do have this drop now. Oh, but that could actually turn out really bad with those blink stalkers. Yeah, I don't know about this. He's just going to attack this wall from the bottom. Meanwhile, Classic going to see what he can get done from the other side. Sentry does go down. Good force fields, though, do split this army, but Stim moves forward and Keen forced to back away a little bit. Oh, but there's a drop at the third base as well. Killed a couple of probes, doing a little bit of damage. Making good trades with those Widow Mines. In the meantime, Keen's continuing to move. Every unit he builds, he loads into medivacs, sends them across the map, getting ready for a fight. And he's going to try and take out one of these Immortals, and does so immediately. Overcharge is forced to be used, but he has taken out that Immortal. But now his units are so low on health that they're pretty much forced to retreat and stim out of there. And Classic will hold. But I think that what we got is what we wanted, in that Classic had to make so many defensive concessions to that 3 racks that Keen is actually in a solid position to enter the mid to late game.
Yeah, I mean, he does get some economic damage done at the third. Now Keen probably would have liked to find more damage with that attack, because that's really the purpose of that attack, is to have some nice damage early on, so that it can set you up nicely into the mid to late game. But the attack's not over yet. He still has a good amount onto the right side, as well as another army group here onto the left side. Let's see if he can find more damage this time around.
Yeah, I think the primary goal of Keen at this point is to just delay that 4th base for as long as possible. Classic's tech is not really that great. He's just now getting his Storm, he's getting his +2, he's 8 minutes in, he doesn't have Colossi. So all in all, I think Keen's actually very happy with the state of this game right now.
Yeah, I mean, he does have he's the one that's kind of really dictating the pace. He's the one on the aggression. He's keeping Classic, kind of hold up in his side of the map. And so if he can kind of keep this up and delay the 4th base as long as possible, then he can very well take this series right now.
Yeah, good split against those Widow Mines by Classic. Very disciplined army movement by Classic overall, knowing the second army is here, never overreacting, never sending the top right army so far towards the natural that Keen can just back away and then doom drop into his main base. Classic is defending in a very strong fashion here on both sides simultaneously, but there is a 3rd army coming up for Keen as well, and now it looks like Classic wants to try and collapse on this, but then moves away as soon as the back away happens so much. Always worried about the threat of that doom drop, and in the meantime he's winning this fight on the upper left corner of the map, and Keen is forced to retreat. But Keen has caught up in workers, but actually in the meantime, as I say this, a charge lot warp-in comes into the main base and starts killing some workers as well, and now it looks like he might move to the 3rd, and Classic is actually moving across the map to get an attack done of his own.
Oh boy, are we gonna have ourselves a little bit of a base trade here?
Oh, that's a really big drop. We just might. This is not looking good for Classic to have this drop here, but now in comes Classic thinking, alright, well, if you've got 40 supply on the other side of the map, you might not have enough to stop me here. But Classic is actually forced to back away and go after the 3rd base. Keen is in a really good position here. Keen is up 30 supply. This 3rd base will go down for Keen, but the 3rd base is just so much less important than all of this production in the main. And if the natural goes down too, that's pretty much everything Classic has. He's forced to recall towards that natural, and he does. But in the meantime, so much in that main has been destroyed.
Yeah, the critical production buildings absolutely obliterated, and now Classic is going to have to rely on this army.
Yeah, those Widow Mines did so much damage to the Stalkers that now we can actually just back away with these Immortals, and now all of a sudden he's up 40 supply. He's got Widow Mines infesting the main of his opponent, and Keen is in an extraordinarily good position.
Yeah, remember, Classic was up 2-0 in the series. Keen has managed to win the last 2 games and potentially can go for the reverse sweep here. Now, Classic is still not out of it. He still has those storms, great storms. Those blanket storms can really turn the table, but Keen is definitely has some momentum right now.
Yeah, this 3rd base is really the only solid mining area for Keen, so he definitely needs to defend that properly. There is not great mining from Keen, really. Classic does have this 4th base now, and he wants to hold on to it, but there's so many Widow Mines and Ghosts. How do you do that? How do you break into that? He's going to have to try, but he's just going to have to give up this base.
Yep, base test taken down. Now Classic is down to basically 2 mining bases. Question is, can he hold on and defend against this attack?
Ooh, that's a good EMP. There is only like 1 storm left here now. That 1 High Templar with a storm on it holds the hope of Classic. But Keen now will choose to just back away. Some more charge dots do come in, but won't do any real damage.
Oh, actually some friendly fire does weaken some of these SCVs. Luckily, these medevacs are here to heal them.
And both sides are actually just really so low economy at the moment. but that low economy actually, I think, benefits Keen more than it benefits Classic. Classic is desperately trying to retake this base. Meanwhile, Keen taking a 4th base of his own on location.
Oh,
And Classic is building more Colossi. He's getting his War Prism speed. He's slowly stabilizing. He's definitely not out of the woods. In fact, he's really in some of the darkest parts of the woods, but at least he does have a weak, sputtering flashlight.
yeah, I mean, he does have the War Prism with 2 High Templar. I think he was trying to attempt for a Storm drop, but that might actually help him during
Good Storms coming in. Here comes the fight. The 2 Colossi doing tremendous damage from the back. More Storms coming on in. This is about the best fight that he could have possibly hoped for with Classic, but in the end, Keen just has too much and will break through this beautiful play by Classic with that final engagement, but in the end, Keen just way too far ahead. Beautiful moves by Keen to lose 2-0 with a build and then come back to win 3 more games in a row. What an adaptation. What a performance by Freak of Freaks Keen.